As a man, I would tell you that, as men, a lot of times we don't really want to go to the doctor or certain things we just don't do, right? And now you have a lot of men today who say, man, I ain't trying to get married. I ain't trying to deal with none of these women. I mean, a lot of these women are just horrible out here. And I would agree with you. A lot of them are, but I've always said that you don't have to relegate yourself just to the shores of the United States of America. If you need to go overseas to meet someone, you can do that. I believe if you have a passport, it should really be no excuse, actually, at that point, right? But this woman here is going to touch on something. She works in healthcare. And this is a lot of conversations men are not having about when you just stand by yourself, you don't have a wife, you have nobody, and life happens to you. Check out what this sister from New Orleans got to say.
My Black Kings, happy Father's Day. But today I want to talk about something that I noticed with our Black men in healthcare. From my observation, and my observation alone, Black men tend to be the most loneliest and depressed patients that I come across. And the men that I'm speaking on, most of the times, they have never married. After conversations, I find out, there was a Rolling Stone. And they just never settled. Yes, they have kids, but these kids that we speak of, they have their own lives. These kids have kids to take care of. So yes, they come visit you, but ain't nothing like a wife. Like those wives ain't leaving the bedside. And you see those other people, their wives riding. They coming up to the desk and saying, my husband ain't blanking right. What's good? No, but for real, like those other people, they making sure he getting up and walking with therapy. They making sure he's doing everything he got to do to get out of this hospital and be able to recover. What medications he's taking? Because I want to make sure when I get home, he's taking it just like that. Like, they don't play about their husbands. And then back over to my Black Kings, like you lonely and you letting this get to your head and you just feel like I don't want to work with therapy. Life is over. What can I do? And it's just like if you had that motivation, there's so much I can do. I'm only here for 12 hours. So I only go, encourage you to do so much, and I encourage. But if you had that wife, like them wives be stepping. I don't care what y'all say. See, I know sometimes it might aggravate some nurses, but them wives be stepping. That wife gonna nurse you back to health. So no, I'm not speaking on all Black men. You can identify what group of Black men that I'm referring to. But y'all, life happens, and one day you're going to be on your sick bed, and you can use the motivation. You can use the company. You can use the love. You can use having someone there to advocate for you. Like all of that helps when you're recovering. So no, this should not be the only reason to marry, but it plays a big factor.
I remember one time that I was taking a medication, and this medication did not agree with me at all. And that's what kind of just started my journey on getting rid of certain things out of my personal life and medications and stuff like that. And it dropped my blood pressure so low, this medication that I was taking at the time, that I just straight passed out. I didn't even know I passed out. I woke up and said, why are y'all screaming like that? It's like, you passed out, and I passed out in front of some sisters and stuff like that, right? So they call the paramedics, things like that. So I'm getting there, man. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what? And then my little girl, my wife, they called my wife. My wife and little girl, hurry up, got over there while I was at, and they were right there, And when it's time to go back to the back, they don't let girlfriends go to the back. They let your wife go to the back with you, right? So my wife was right there watching everybody, watching everything. Hey, what is that? What are you doing? Talking to me. I was just kind of just dealing with it at the time because I'm not one to get sick like that too often, thank God. And just to be in a hospital like that, that just, it sent me all kind of ways, just me personally, emotionally, right? And at that moment, I got to see, with my wife, definitely, how she was in that moment. And I really thank her and appreciate what she was doing and how she was, making sure things were going on, advocating. And then now what if I was just a single man out here just fooling around with whoever? I would have been back there alone, sick, don't have nobody to advocate for me if I'm down. And see, it's moments like that, men, that you also have to think about, right? Now, of course, as the sister said, you don't marry somebody just to somebody to be there because you're getting sick. No. But the fact is, the scriptures teach, and it has taught this, and some of you think that you're above scripture. Some of you think they don't apply to you. But remember, men, and we're talking about men, we were the first on earth as men. And if God himself felt that we didn't need nobody, woman would have never been created. You know the creation story. I don't care if you believe it or not. It's the creation story. And God himself said it's not good for man to be alone. So I'm going to create woman so he can have somebody. And if you think you know more than God, then hey, go ahead. But life is going to teach you, in the end, you really don't know more than God. I tell you that much because I don't know more than God. I know I don't. And I understand, and a lot of you men, you don't even really think like some of these modern women think. A lot of you opting out of dating now because you're just sick of the choices. It's not that you don't want anybody, because I don't really hear men say, oh, we swear off women. We don't want nothing to do with women. I choose to be by myself. Most men not talking like that because it's not in you to be by yourself, because that's not what God wanted for us anyway as men, right? But I will say, don't let modern women in America make you just give up family, give up, building a strong unit. Like I said before, if you have to travel, and these same modern women in America, because they don't want to get their act together, they want to shame you if you want to get on that airplane and go travel and go find somebody. They get very, very upset with you when you gone, okay? It don't matter what they upset about, man. It don't. And when I say travel, I'm not saying go trick, because I do not advocate men tricking their money, domestic or abroad. That's stupid. If you're going to trick, you might want to stay in America and trick if you're going to do it. But I'm saying if you're actually making viable relationships and getting, whoever you're going to get, and you're going to get married and make a family. I've met brothers who've done it. I've met them. They've contacted me. One brother had contacted me. Now, one time he had met a woman in Mexico. And so he ended up forming a family with her. Another brother from Ethiopia got an Ethiopian wife, right? Form a family with her. Talk to other brothers, hey, got a wife from Colombia, right? Colombian wife. Whatever you choose to do is your business. You don't have to stay relegated to this modern woman stuff in America. You don't. Especially if you're a man that got options. You don't have to do that. You don't have to deal with the dinner date thing and the game of that. You don't have to deal with the high body counts as high as the Empire State Building. You don't have to deal with any of that. Don't give up your dream of having a family, brother, or any man who's watching. Don't give up your dream just because you see what modern women in America do. There are still countries out here, if you want to travel, that still have a conservative culture. When I say conservative, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about conservative. In other words, modest dress. People not out here speaking filthy and all of that. People still being decent again. That's what I mean by a conservative culture. Like, for instance, we got a trip going to Ethiopia March 31 through April 9 through our main channel, African Diaspora News Channel. If you men would like to go to a conservative country and maybe have an opportunity to meet women that's in a conservative mindset, maybe you should go on that trip. And you will see it's very, very conservative in Ethiopia. You're not going to see that modern woman stuff in a oh no, not over there. That ain't happening because their culture won't allow it. You know what I'm saying? And it's many brothers that's even when I went the first time, we weren't talking like this, but they were like, man, I want to go over there and get me a wife. You know what I'm saying? Well, why not? Why not? I tell y'all that. I don't think men should be by themselves. I don't. Now, if you choose that, that's your business. But the perpetual bachelor thing, listen, I've known men that want to just run through everything. And even those men say, all right, man, that's enough. That's enough. I got a partner of mine that I would tell him for a few years, brother, why don't you settle down, brother? He finally did. He said, and he got him a wife now. And he told me he's happier now than when he was when he was out in them streets. He said, man, these women ain't crap. They not there for you. But he said his wife is there for him. He's so happy with his wife. And that's what I want to see with all of you men. Yes, some men talk about the divorces and all of that. I get that. But not every woman is trying to divorce either. Not every woman is trying to divorce. You have to understand, even if you get an American woman, you got to start asking a lot of questions. What's her mindset? What's her mindset about family? Because the mindset of abandoning family, a lot of times you could pick that apart just by asking questions. You got to have a woman that loves family and want to build a family unit. But Don't give up on having a family, fellas. Don't give up. If that's what you really want, you want a wife, you want some children, don't give that up. Look, they always say he who finds a wife, you got to go find it. They're not going to just come lay in your lap, bro. And you staying in the house, that's another thing. Some of you just got to a point, you just stay in the house, playing video games, being on the internet, bro. You're not going to find a woman like that. Get outside, bro. And I'm not saying you got to go to the club. Look, I'm going to tell you, you really want to meet some ladies, like say whatever, start traveling. Even in the continental United States, travel from different city to city. Go do even touristy things. You'd be surprised who you meet in the airports when you're doing touristy things. You ain't always got to travel international even to meet somebody. Even if you travel to continental United States, women of every city and every state, a lot of times the culture is different. It's crazy, but the culture is different. You know, like women in Atlanta is different than women in Houston, and women in Dallas is different than women in Chicago, and women in Chicago is different than women in New York City. You know what I'm saying? The culture is different everywhere you go, even as a man. So move around the continental United States, you may end up meeting somebody. You know, I mean, you have one of your sisters from Jackson, Mississippi, real down south, right? You may have a sister from Birmingham, Alabama, really down south. You know, you just never know what you'll meet. A lot of times you men don't even travel out your city because sometimes you can't get nothing in your city, even if you live in a big city, because it's kind of like that situation. You know, a prophet is what I honor is in own hometown. I'm not saying in the area of religion, but I'm saying the area of basically you don't really get much honor in your hometown. You sometimes got to go other places to actually get some honor and get some respect. Like, for instance, I left my hometown, Port Arthur, Texas. I come to Houston. I've done more in Houston than anything I've ever done in Port Arthur. I love Port Arthur. That's why I grew up, but I've done more in Houston. Actually, I've learned I'm even more appreciated outside of America. I get more respect outside of America than in America. I'm telling you what I've seen with my own life. So if you get around, start moving around, I just think that's really cause for us to be moving around as men. And maybe you will meet your wife at the right place at the right time. You never know. You may be traveling and you be going to get something food or whatever in the airport, and boom, you done met a lady right then and there. And y'all maybe bumped into each other. Maybe she dropped something, you handed it to her, and man, that was the start of a relationship right then and there. And you'd have never met her if you wouldn't have got off that doggone video game, got off that couch on the internet, and actually be outside and start moving around and getting around life. Because some of you guys have given up, and now you're sitting in the house too much too. No, get your behind out that house, you know, and start moving around. There's no reason for you to sit at home. You like say you don't have no woman, so move around, bruh. Move around. That's the only thing I'm saying, because this sister's right. When those times get hard like that, that's when you're going to realize, you know, hey, man, I really need, you know, a woman in my life.